Hello there, it's Jim. This is the second episode of the Linux Shortcut Podcast. Today I am going to talk about a keyboard-centric workflow for browsing the web. I use Firefox normally. Today I'm using Waterfox because, well, my Firefox just has a lot of tabs open usually and kind of bogs my computer down when I'm when I'm making a podcast like this. So first thing I'm showing you here on screen is a picture of the same exact keyboard that I'm using. It's a handy little Dell multimedia slim keyboard. It's about 20 years old, but I am used to it. And I normally put my left hand, fingers resting down about here near Control or Windows and Alt, and my thumb down there, my fingers up by Tab or Escape. My right hand, my thumb will be down here by Control. My fingers ready to hit the 4 arrow keys, Home, and page up and page down. My right hand will also be available to jump over to the side to the mouse because I'm right-handed. But today we're all about trying to avoid using the mouse, except when you see me moving my cursor on the screen like that. Other than that, I'm trying not to use the mouse at all. So anyway, your mileage may vary on your keyboard or if you're using a different browser, but I'm going to say this. Firefox has everything you need built in to handle a keyboard-centric workflow. There's a browser here called Qt Browser. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I tried this once and within 5 minutes, I deleted it. To me, this browser makes no sense. I hate the way it's implemented. Maybe if you use Vim and you are a touch typist, you may get some more mileage out of it. But for me, it makes no sense. First of all, why do you want to have dozens of what look like little yellow Post-it notes all over your screen, marring whatever you're trying to read? It's ugly. It's unnecessary. Plus, the little links that you have to type, the code. If you want to go to Issues tab, you got to type HK. It's a random string. It has nothing to do with where you're going. This browser to me is just useless. You don't need it. Everything this browser can do, I think Firefox can do better, or at least more sensibly. So I'm going to show you how you can use the built-in aspects of Firefox plus some of my favorite extensions. The first thing I do in the modern day is I go to About Config and change this setting, Browser Backspace Action. Years ago in Firefox, that the default was the backspace button worked to make you go back to the previous place you were just surfing in your history in that individual tab. At some point, they changed that setting, but you can go here, use the edit, and make this 0, and now your backspace button is working in Firefox or in Waterfox, which is what I'm using now for demonstration purposes. I have like 130 tabs open at any given time in Firefox, so it's heavy. I have 24 gigs of RAM and my computer can handle it, but when I'm recording a video, not so much. So here I have Waterfox, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite extensions that are necessary. No script and uBlock Origin are not related to the keyboard-centric workflow, but they're two extensions I use and always use in Firefox. Let's start with this one. Control plus number to switch tabs. When I switched from Windows to Linux in 2023, I was horrified to find that the behavior that Firefox had in Windows, at least in the Linux Mint version of Firefox, did no longer work. They changed it to Alt number to switch tabs. This is something I use daily, almost every minute I'm using the computer. So this extension will allow you to press Control plus the number 1 through 8 to switch tabs from 1, 2, 3, 4 from the left, etc. all the way to 8, and then the Control 9 will switch your focus to the rightmost tab in your current window, even if it's 20 or 30 deep. So that to me is absolutely necessary, especially if you have muscle memory built up from Windows. I use this extension called Cycle Last Used Tabs. This is very handy, and it allows you to use Alt Z to cycle through your recently used tabs, or Alt X to go back and forth directly to the previous tab you had just surfed to the current tab, and back and forth directly. I like those shortcuts because Alt and those numbers are right on the bottom left of the keyboard, so I can use it with one hand. I always try to have as many of my keyboard shortcuts as possible, and there's limited space, of course, on the keyboard to be used with my left hand. That frees up my right hand for page home and end, and page up and page down, and the arrow keys. Or if I have to reach for the mouse, so be it, because I'm right-handed. So next, focus input element. This is something that's very useful if you are trying to input something into a text box, and I will demonstrate that later. If you don't want to have to reach for the mouse, this will focus you right on there. Tab mix rename tab is very handy in cases where don't need to use it very often, but sometimes you'll have a tab where the name is weird. For example, if you have Discord, a bunch of Discord tabs open, they all just say Discord. The channel name is cut off depending on how wide your tabs are. You can hit right click and manually try to rename the tabs. So that's what that is. It's very handy. Panorama tab groups to me is absolutely mandatory. It's one of the best extensions you could have if you want to use a keyboard-centric workflow. The new Firefox tab groups that have gotten a lot of attention in the last couple weeks are, in my opinion, no substitute for this Panorama tab groups extension. And I'm going to show you why. It's very powerful. I have it set, and you yourself can change the keyboard shortcut that you want to use. I have it to Alt-C. As you can see, I have 5 groups here. Right? They're tiled. They're not all evenly tiled, but in any case, you can see Tech News, BSD, Chat, Linux, and Podcast. I just created these for this podcast. On my regular installation of Firefox proper, I have 14 groups, including similar ones like this with 130 plus tabs. But this, for demonstration purposes, you'll get the idea. Alt-C, or you can customize this to anything else. Those are your groups. Obviously, you group tabs that make sense, that go together. Now, you could also customize the way to jump between tab groups. And this is what makes it so powerful for keyboard-centric navigation. So right here, I'm on the podcast. If I hit Alt-Q, I go to the left mode, to the next group on the left. If I hit Alt-W, I go to the next group on the right. Here's Alt-W. There's the BSD group. Alt-W again, now I'm in the Linux group. Alt-W again, I'm in the Tech News group. Alt-W again, I'm in Chat. Most of us use IRC. And there it is. So, and going backwards the other direction with Alt-Q. Now, what makes this so powerful is you can imagine, and now here's Alt-C, here's back to my groups. And you can drag and drop with the mouse, if you want the different, create new groups or drag and drop these tabs within groups, delete them, create new groups. It's all possible right here. But if you just want to, I'm going to let go of the mouse again, hit Alt-C. If you want to just navigate now, here's why it's powerful. Because with your left hand, you jump to the next group, and now you can use the built-in navigation functionality on Firefox, right? You can go Control, I have to call these out so you know what I'm doing. Control page up goes to the next tab to the left. Control page up, next tab to the left. Control page down, next tab to the right. Alt-W, I'm in the next group, same thing. Control page down and control page up. I'm jumping around to all the different tabs. And here's I got 9 in this group. I can go Alt Control page down, control page down. Let's say I want to jump to the end. Control 9, that takes you all the way to the right. Control 1, all the way back to the left. Control 5, Debian in the middle. You start to put these functionalities together, and boom, there's Alt W. I'm in the next group. I want to go from one to the other. You can even switch the order if you want. Again, I'm not touching the keyboard, the mouse. Control Shift up and down. You can actually change what order they're in. So Alt W, I'm into the next group again. Then Alt W again, and Control page up and Control page down. You can imagine if you create tab groups, right? This one has 2, that has 2, this has 1, this has 9, that has 4. If you can create tab groups that are 9 or less, that will allow you to jump directly to any individual tab using the keyboard. Or even if you have more than 9, let's say you got 15 or 20, you could still get close to it and then hit Control page up or down and just get there quickly. If you're a person like me that likes to have a bunch of tabs open, you do not need to touch the mouse to navigate around. All right, and you could also use this panorama view. Here's the regular view, panorama view. You notice this is highlighted right here. You could jump directly here. For example, I'm going to type Bodhi, B-O-D-H-I. You see this? The blue square box, rectangle around it is there, and you can use the left and right arrows to jump and navigate around further. But using the box up there, you can type and go directly to where you want. So now I'm in Bodhi. Even though it's in a different group, it will allow me to jump around. Now, many people also know you hit Control T to open up a new tab, right? Firefox has an incredible ability to built into it that is also very powerful. If you type %space, you see that? Tabs. You can type anything in there, B-O-D-H-I, and it will, then you hit down arrow, boom, and you're back to Bodhi. Anytime you want to jump somewhere, you don't have to go hit here and then like look around and grab your mouse and go, gee, where is that? Oh, here it is. You know, you just hit Control T, %space, and then type whatever you want. Here, I think I got Cashy, right? There it is. Switch the tab. It's so easy to jump around with the keyboard this way. Same thing. Let me start a new tab here. If you, instead of using the %, you can hit, I think that's called the caret, history. Anything in your history will also work. You can type a certain term and anything that's in your browsing history, and it'll jump there. Supposedly, also, if you hit that, it will search for tags that you have in your bookmarks, and which you could set up in advance. If you hit the $ symbol and space, it will search anything in the URL. Let me go again, B-O-D-H-I, Bodhi Linux. It will suggest that because it recognizes the name. So Firefox has very powerful navigation built in. Now, that's jumping around. Control W, you probably already know, shuts your tab. All right. Again, Alt Q, I'm going backwards between groups. Right now, let me go here. I showed you how powerful Firefox is to jump around your different, your different groups, right? And now I'm going to show you how to navigate within an individual page. I'm here on Hacker News. It's a great site for power users, not just hackers. Here's how you can navigate with Firefox. You hit the apostrophe, and then you hit like, okay, there's the word prompt right in the front. If I don't misspell it, of course, P-R-O-M-P-T, right? And you see how it's lit up right here? You're able to navigate right there. I just hit enter, and there I am, right? So now I hit backspace, and I'm back. Hit apostrophe. Let's go to the next one. DS. You don't even have to type the whole thing. First few letters, enter. You could navigate around any website you're reading that has links like this. Doesn't matter whether you're on Hacker News, you're on Lobsters, you're on Reddit, any forums, like Linux Mint forum, and a million other sites that are even you can be on the Fediverse, on your Mastodon, or like Lemmy, for example, similar. You can use apostrophe, and you could type. Let me type Lisp. There it is down there. You see it right there? Now, let's say I wait. You see it's green. It's going to turn blue after 5 seconds. Now, you even have more capability. You hit the menu button. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's the button down between the super key and the control key to the right of the space bar. If you want to copy that link, you hit L, and all of a sudden that link's copied. You hit Control T to open up a new tab. Control V, most people know how to do that. Boom. There it is. So now think about this. You're surfing around. You see something, you want to copy it to a different forum, a different website, or paste it into a chat you're having. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be Discord, IRC, Slack. You don't have to touch the mouse. That is completely unnecessary. So bottom line is, built into Firefox are some very powerful navigation tools, right? Control W, I'll shut that back down. Let's go back here. I'm using Alt Q to jump around through my groups. Alt C is showing you my different groups again. You can see this is highlighted here, and if it's not, you hit Tab to get there. But let's say I want to go back to IRC. Now you can see the blue rectangle right there. So if you have lots and lots of tabs open, you could use this to find them pretty easily. Right? Hit enter, and now I'm back on my IRC chat. I use IRC Cloud. I highly recommend it. Now, it works similarly in Discord. You don't need to touch the mouse. So if you're like me, you probably read different channels. You bounce around. You read them for a few seconds. You see if there's anything new. You scroll up. You scroll down. Here's Linux Mint on Libera IRC chat. I'm scrolling up with page up. Again, this is built into Firefox. I think almost everybody knows this already, but it's very handy to go up and down. Scrolling with I see people like laboriously scrolling with the mouse wheel or moving their hand up and down. It's just nuts to me. This is so much more efficient. Now, let's say you want to go to Linux off topic. Alt up arrow goes to the next channel. This works on IRC Cloud. It probably also works on many IRC clients, or you could set that yourself and determine that behavior depending on the client. It also works on the browser version of Discord. You can go up and down, Alt up arrow and Alt down arrow, right? Let's say I want to go to Late Night Linux. Great podcast. I highly recommend it. I go down and back up. Now I can hit page up and page down. Scroll back, read what I missed, scroll back down, down arrow, down arrow. So all this is built right into Firefox. There is very little reason to touch the mouse. Obviously, there's times you're going to need to do it. You might get lost in what you're doing. You might be doing something critically urgent, or you're doing something that requires, you're not just surfing or reading or typing text. Obviously, you'll need to touch the mouse if you're playing a game or a whole bunch of other things. But for the most part, you can do a lot just with the keyboard. And if you're like me and you read a lot of different sites, you bounce around, this is all done with the keyboard. Going from one group to the other, going from one tab to the other, onto the next group, and then up and down within an individual page to the next group, bouncing around directly from front to back, up and down, all using the keyboard. It's all done with the keyboard. So I hope that was helpful. I hope some other people find a keyboard-focused workflow in Firefox, my favorite browser, or any Firefox-derived browser like WaterFox. I hope you'll also find it useful. So please give me any feedback, and I hope you'll subscribe and look forward to the next video. Thank you very much.